What's up, guys? If anybody knows me, my name is Nicole. Remember like 10 years ago whenever I made a video on BookTube and then never made another video? Yeah. If anybody wants to see it, it's right here. A lot has happened in the last, I don't even know. I was a freshman in college when that happened, and I'm 26 now. I'll be 26 next week. So that's a long time ago. I have not watched that video in so long, and the sweet summer child I was, I didn't know what was coming at me in the next 10 years, which is crazy. It wasn't 10 years, it's probably like 8 years. I'm bad at math. I was an English major, I wasn't a math major, so my math is off. Moved to a different state than my OG one, and I'm engaged now, so that's fun. I made a bunch of videos on TikTok back during quarantine, but I wanted to come back to like book stuff because book stuff is like my passion. That's what I always loved doing. I feel like I've made so many like different videos because I originally made singing videos. I don't even want to think about those because they're bad. I still sing every once in a while, but like I don't even want to think about those. And then I moved to BookTube and then never touched BookTube again. And then went to TikTok and made cosplay videos, which they're still up, which I'll make all my links below if you want to see like cosplay videos. But getting into what we're actually getting into with this video is I am going to be talking about all of the books that I read in the month of October. It is almost Halloween. Halloween is tomorrow, so it's the end of October. And I have read quite some books. All of them have variety. It's not even just one genre. I feel like I've read so many books this month. It's been such a heavy reading month. So the first books that I have read is the Powerless series. I read Powerless, Reckless, and then Powerful. I read all three of these books, and when I tell you, I spammed these books. I spam read these books literally in the span of a few days. I absolutely adored this book. I loved this book. I tabbed it so much, as you can see. As you can see, there's a bunch of pink marks. What's so funny about this is, so all of the pink marks are supposed to be the romance. I tabbed it up so much with pink marks that I ran out of pink marks like twice. So the first book went from like pink marks to yellow marks and then to like orange marks for like the romance stuff. It's a slow burn, okay? It's amazing. I loved Kai Azar so much. And I'm actually kind of mad because the next book doesn't come out till April. So like I spammed all of these books and now I have to wait 6 months to read the next part of the series. And it broke me. The end of this book, literally, Reckless, literally broke me. We don't even talk about this one because this one is, if anybody has read this one, you know why this would break you. But the end of this book, if anybody has read the end of this book, God, it made me so angry. So I went to a rehearsal dinner for a wedding the same day I finished this book. And the entire time I was driving down, I kid you not, I went through such a book hangover. I can't speak. What is words? I went through such a book hangover like after I finished this series because all I was thinking about was Kai Azar and how bad I felt for him. Like I felt horrible. Oh my gosh. But getting into the premise of the book, off of my rampage. So it said, the elites have possessed powers for decades, gifted to them by the plague, while those born ordinary are just that, banished from the kingdom of Ilia and shunned from society. No one knows this better than Peyton Gray, an ordinary posing as a psychic to blend in with the elites. But when she unwittingly saves one of Ilia's princes, I can't speak, Kai Azar, she's thrown into the purging trials, a brutal competition showcasing the elite's powers. If the trials and the opponents within them don't kill her, the prince she's fighting for Will if he discovers what Paden is completely ordinary. So basically, it's this whole universe, or it's just this city where a bunch of people have powers, and then there's people like us who don't have any powers. Paden she's one of the girls. She doesn't have any powers. She's completely ordinary, and she's basically posing in this kingdom as like a psychic. And then she saves, as it said, Kai-Azar after stealing from him, which is so awesome. She robs him and then saves him from, what is it, a silencer, I think. And it was just so awesome. And then she's put into these trials, which this book reminded me of like a bunch of dystopian novels back whenever I was a teenager. Hunger Games, it really reminded me of Hunger Games, which, if anybody knows, I love Hunger Games so much, which the next book is coming out in a couple months with Haymitch's Games, and I'm the most excited about it. I love Haymitch so much, and I'm so excited. But going back to Powerless, so it reminded me of Hunger Games like a lot with like the trials, especially the first trial reminded me of Hunger Games. At some point it reminded me of Harry Potter with the third trial, which I don't want to get into it, but if you know, you know. For some reason it reminded me of Goblet of Fire with the third trial with like the maze. And then at some point it reminded me of, for some reason it reminded me of The Selection at some point. I don't remember why, but I remember The Selection coming to mind at some point. It just reminded me of so much, and I adored this series. I know this is one of the series where it's just, you either love it, or you like it, or you hate it, which that's with every series, I mean, I guess. But I know that that's a huge thing, I feel like this one is like overrated sometimes, or a lot of people say it's overrated. I think it's appropriately rated. I loved this series so much. So getting past Powerless, because I could talk about Kai-Azar for ages. I could talk about this man for ages. This man, I have a book boyfriend list, and this man made it to top 2 so quick. Okay. Location change. Excuse the mess, because I just got some new bookcases and that I need to put over here and reorganize. So this is currently my book stack. Actually, it looks really bad if you want to see over there. I had literally stacks of books. I also had another bookcase right here that I had to move. It's currently downstairs, which is the one I was in front of. So my books are currently all over the place and not organized, which I probably will do like a bookshelf tour or a like organizing my bookshelf video. The next book that I read in October was Birthday Girl by Penelope Douglas. I was very surprised about this book because I'm not huge into age gap, and the characters have, I think, like an 18-year-old, she is 18 years old. No, they had like an 18-year like age gap, which isn't terrible. I'm just not usually into age gap, but I did really enjoy this book, and I really liked Pike Lawson. He was really great. I loved him. I really liked Jordan. She was really great. But the premise of the book, getting into it, is Jordan and her boyfriend have nowhere else to go when her boyfriend's dad, Pike, offers to let them move in with him. I can't speak today. Working a dead-end job, and with her relationship on the rocks, she reluctantly accepts, expecting to help out around the house in exchange. What she doesn't anticipate is for her heart to race every time Pike pulls into the driveway, or for her cheeks to burn when their eyes meet over the kitchen table. He is kind, listens to her, and protects her in a way no man ever has before. Her sister once told her there are no good men, and if you find one, he's probably unavailable. Only Pike isn't the unavailable one, she is. As the days go by, Pike is finding it what are words? Pike is finding it anything but simple to have his son's girlfriend living in his house. He can't stop thinking about her and holding his breath every time they cross paths. It feels like she's becoming a part of him, except he knows they're not free to give into this. How could they when he's her boyfriend's father? Loved this. I loved this book. I gave it 4 stars on Goodreads, which if you want to see my ratings for all of these books, I will post my Goodreads below. So if you want to see my reviews on Goodreads, down below. I also have an Instagram too, which I don't really post on, but I'll also post that up below as well. But I did really enjoy this book, and I liked Pike Lawson a lot. I loved him. So there's Birthday Girl. And then the next book I read, which I read these in the span of like a day, each of these, Birthday Girl and then The Nanny by Lana Ferguson. I don't know if I'm pronouncing her last name right, but it's Ferguson. Very cute cover. Don't get it twisted. It's very much like Icebreaker, where it's a very cute like cartoon cover and then just naughty on the inside. The premise of this book, I gave this 4 stars as well. I really liked this book. So she's the guy's nanny for her kid, and she used to do OnlyFans, so awesome. And then he was her like main subscriber on OnlyFans, and they were like flirting back and forth, and then suddenly they both kind of just disappeared off the face of the earth and then never spoke again until she became his nanny, which is awesome. But the premise is, suddenly unemployed and on the brink of extinction, Cassie Evans is left with 2 choices: get a new job and fast, or fire up her long untouched OnlyFans account. But the job market is terrible, and as for OnlyFans, well, there are reasons she can't go back. Just when all hope seems lost, an ad for a live-in nanny position appears to be the solution to all her problems. It's almost too perfect until she meets her would-be employer. Aiden Reed, executive chef and DILF extraordinaire, is far from the stuffy single dad Cassie was imagining. He shocks her when he tells her she's the most qualified applicant he met in weeks and practically begs her to take the job. The idea of living under the same roof as Aiden, with his hands that make her hindbrain howl and eyes that scream sex, feels dangerous. But with no other option, she decides to stay with him and his adorably tenacious daughter, Sophie. Cassie soon discovers that Aiden is not a stranger at all, but instead someone who is very familiar with her, or at least her body. Given that he doesn't remember her, Cassie is faced with an impossible situation. As their relationship heats to temperatures harder than those reached in any kitchen Aiden has ever worked in, Cassie struggles with telling Aiden the truth, and the more terrifying possibility, losing the best chance of happiness she's ever had. This was such a cute book. It was so good. It was saucy too, which we love sauce. Again, love that the cover is like very cartoony, very cutesy. It's very saucy on the inside. Very good. I also gave this 4 stars on Goodreads. I loved this book. And then I read 2 books on my Kindle this year. I read 2 books on my Kindle this month. So the first book I read on my Kindle, which my Kindle is right here. It's very cutesy, very demure. So the first book I read in my Kindle, Little Stranger, by Leah Rivers. I DNF'd this book. I mean, I don't ever DNF books. I know a lot of people really love this book, and I might try it again in a couple of months. I couldn't get through it. There was a lot of things in it that just like, I couldn't get through it. I don't DNF books very often, but I DNF'd this book. Okay, so I will read the premise and then I'll give the reasons for why I DNF'd it. So the description is, owning her is all he ever wanted. She betrayed him, and now he wants revenge against the foster sister who became his forbidden obsession the second he laid eyes on her. After she sends him to prison for years, he's free and ready to haunt her. Everything about Olivia belongs to Malachi Vise. Her mind, her body, her soul, her fear, her pain. On Halloween night, he can no longer lurk in the shadows. All he has left to own is her heart, even if he needs to take it. Okay, I DNF'd this book. I know that is I feel like an unpopular opinion, because I feel like everybody on TikTok that I've seen who has read this book has absolutely adored this book. A lot of people have liked Malachi. I couldn't get into this book. I'm sorry. Again, maybe I'll retry it here in a couple of months. At some point I will retry it. I just couldn't get into it. I struggled a lot with the fact that they were foster siblings who called each other brother and sister. She called him brother more so than he called her sister. I got through like maybe halfway through the book. It was very quick, but then I kind of just stopped reading. I know a lot of people have said that the second half of the book is a lot better than the first half, and that, you know, I need to just get through it. So again, one of these days I am gonna get through this book. Maybe. I haven't DNF'd books very often. I think the only other book that I DNF'd, the only two other books that I've DNF'd is The Sinner, which is part of the Ritual series, which I have here, is from Chantal Tessier. I DNF'd that book. I'm scared to read The Sacrifice, but I heard The Sacrifice is a lot of people's favorites. Little Stranger, I DNF'd it. Ow. I want to reread it. I do. I want to reread it, and I want to try it again with an open mind, because I know a lot of people like Malachi. I just couldn't get through it, and I'm sorry about that. I don't know why I'm apologizing. Like you wrote the book. You guys didn't read the book. And if the person who read the book watches this, which I doubt it, I'm so sorry. Don't watch this video. Okay, and then the other book that I read, I don't even have it on my Kindle because it was a Kindle Unlimited book, and then I returned it. It was Scream for Us. I will post the author below. It was a Halloween book that I'm getting on TikTok of one of the scenes from the books for Scream for Us, which again, I'll put the author name below. And that is the only reason that I read that book. I gave it a 2 stars on Goodreads. It was a very quick read. Do I remember a single thing from that book? I don't. I remember like 2 things from that book, and that is it. I don't remember anybody's names. I could see them on the street and wouldn't know who they are.
Some stuff that I hate to say it. I hope I don't sound ridiculous. I don't know who this man is. I mean, he could be walking down the street. I wouldn't know a thing. Sorry to this man.
I have no idea about anything from that book, which is why I gave it 2 stars. I just, you know, it wasn't bad. I just didn't care for it. It wasn't my cup of tea. As you can see, I'm very excited to review this book. So the last book I read in the month of October was A Court of Silver Flames by Sarah J. Maas. Okay, let me preface this. I read the first 3 books, the first 4 books, I'm sorry. I read the first 4 books back in 2019, 2020, whenever they were first trending on TikTok, and I adore this series so much. Oh my gosh, I adore this series so much. If anybody knows me personally, they know how much I adore the ACOTAR series. I tell everybody in my life to read this stupid series. I love this series so much. I love Rhys with everything in me. Everybody knows this. Everybody in my life knows how much I love Rhys so much, okay? Like, I love this man. I love this man so much. Going into that, 5 years later, or 4 years later, I finally picked up the last book of the series. I have been holding off on reading this book for so long, and there's so many reasons. So the reason I was hesitant going into this book is because Rhys and Feyre aren't the main people in the book, and that's the major reason why I was so hesitant going into this book, because I love Rhys and I love Feyre so much. They're like my major comfort characters in any book series. I absolutely adore those 2 characters so much. So to go into a book where they weren't the main characters and it wasn't focused on those 2 was very conflicting to me. But I did it. I read it. And also, okay, another opinion. A lot of people have mixed opinions on her. So Nesta, I did not like Nesta for the longest time. I had no good feelings for Nesta. There was just a lot of things that I didn't have good feelings about Nesta at all. Going into that, I can officially say that Nesta is a comfort character. Who would have thunk that Nesta would have become a comfort character? Nesta, girl, I felt like a proud mom toward the end of this book. Like, every time this girl was like getting farther and farther down the stairs, I felt like a proud mom. Like, I was so proud of her. And then the Valkyries, I loved the Valkyries so much. Emery and Gwen, I loved them so much. I loved them so much. I loved this book. I gave it a 5 stars. Are we shocked? I have given I feel like every one of the ACOTAR books a 5-star read. Are we shocked? Are we surprised? No. Again, if anybody knows me in person, I have literally told probably everyone in my life to read this stupid series, like, because I need someone to talk about, which is the main reason I'm doing this, because like I realize that I need to talk about books and not bother people in my life with books. I need to just do it over a camera, over, you know, social media, because I have a lot of opinions on books and I need to talk to people about these books. This one specifically, oh my god, I love this series so much. I loved this book so much. As everybody can see, I'm like flustered. I love this book so much. I get so like emotional thinking about this series. It's not even a joke. Reese, I usually just call him Reese. He is my #1 book boyfriend. I love him. Everybody knows this. But yeah, I love Reese so much, and I love Feyre so much, and like everybody in this stupid series is like a comfort character, minus Tamlin. We know. If you know, you know. If you know, you know. Going into that, so I listened to the audiobook of the first book. I re-listened to it because I was going through a phase where I just really wanted to get back into this series and get back into this world. And so I re-listened, like I listened to the audiobook, the graphic audio of the first book, and I could not stop laughing through half of it. Like, I loved it. It really makes you feel like you're in the ACOTAR world, and I loved it so much. I loved everything about it. But Tamlin, that man gives me secondhand embarrassment. And if you know, you know, okay? If you know, you know. I don't even want to spoil it, but there's a part in this book where Tamlin comes and he just gives me secondhand embarrassment. Like, okay, so this man has, it's not really a spoiler, but he has like a animal form. I don't know how else to explain it. Man, his fae form, I guess. So Reese has one too. Tamlin has like an animal form, like a beast form, right? But every time I think about it, every time I imagine this man's like beast form, all I see is like a wolf or somebody from The Lion King. I'm gonna be very upfront with you. So he shows up in the graphic audio, like when he shows up for Feyre, and all I heard, because maybe I just blocked it out when I first read it, that this man shows up in like a beast form, but all I heard was that this man showed up and they were paws. And it's just like the word pause, for some reason, like any fear that went toward Tamlin, like any intimidation that went for Tamlin, immediately went away whenever I heard the word pause. Because I couldn't get through it. Same thing happens in this. If you know, you know. He was trying to be intimidating, and I'm just like, girly, you're not. Tamlin, in the nicest way possible, you're not intimidating. Like, you give me secondhand embarrassment. You're not scary, my dude. When Reese feels more intimidating in his just natural form, and then Tamlin is in his little beast form, and he just is not intimidating at all. He's not scary. Also, I have a lot of words about this book, as we can all see. I have a lot of words about this book. The last 50 pages of this book, without spoiling anything, killed me. I literally sobbed. A lot happened in the last 50 pages of this book, and I sobbed like a baby. I literally stayed up a couple nights ago until like 2 in the morning just finishing this freaking novel, because I just wanted to get out, like I wanted to finish it. I loved it. It's not that I didn't like it. I just wanted to get it done. And I literally, the last 50 pages, I was stressing. Sarah had me stressed. All I've been doing is just crying and stressing out. In every book of this series, it's like there's happiness and then there's a span of pages, like 50 pages where you do nothing but stress the fuck out. That's exactly what happened in this book. Like, so much happened. So much happened. I'm kind of mad at me and Sarah right now have beef. And I don't even want to spoil it. But me and Sarah have beef because of what she did in this book. I can't get over it. I'm never gonna get over it. I'm happy the way that it ended. It's not that I'm not happy. I'm very happy the way that it ended. It's just like, I was scared for my life. I was scared for my life for like 50 pages of this stupid book. And it hurt me. So that's all I have to say about this book. But me and Sarah, you and me, we have beef. We have beef because of this. I loved Nesta though. Going back into this, I love Nesta and I love Cassian so much, and Azriel, oh my god, I really hope the next book in the series is with Azriel. I'm really hoping, because I love Azriel too. Azriel's so sweet. Oh my god, I loved Azriel. That was like, he's the sweetest. Cassian is such a little like baby. I love Cassian so much. I love every book. I love every character in the series. I don't think, minus Tamlin, I don't think there is a single character in the series that I don't like, that isn't a comfort character. Minus Tamlin. Tamlin's the exception. I mean, every person in the Night Court. Every person in Velaris and in Night Court. I just want to be in Velaris. Like, can this just be like a real world? I would be so freaking happy about it. But that is the books that I read in October. I'm probably going to do a video for the books that I hope to read in November. So we'll hopefully do that. And then there'll probably be a video of my bookshelf tour. I have a lot of books and I just want to show you guys all of my books. You know, we have the Addicted to You series up there, which we'll get into that. I love Addicted to You so much. But yeah, I have a lot of books to talk about, which is why I wanted to start the YouTube channel, because I was very excited to talk about books, and I really wanted to talk about the books I read in October, and I'm very excited to read the books in November, and I probably will do a video on all the books that I hope to read in November, and a reorganizing my bookshelf, because again, I just had bookshelves ordered today. I finally got the IKEA bookshelves, because this is a Target bookshelf, and like, you see how like little amount of books are in this bookshelf. This doesn't even hold like half of my books. It's really bad actually. So I got the IKEA like Billy bookshelves. I'm hoping that it can fit a majority of my books. I'm hoping. If not, we'll figure it out. I'm gonna set it up at some point, probably today or tomorrow, and probably do like a reorganization of my bookshelves, which I hate reorganizing my books. I love it. It's a love-hate relationship. So if you guys want all of my links, again, all of my links are down below. I have my Goodreads, my TikTok, and my Instagram, and then again, I'll probably make a new Goodreads for books. And if you guys need anything, I feel like I'm talking at work right now where I'm at a client, like, if you need anything, just give me a call back. No. So yeah, I'll put all my links below, and thank you guys for watching this video so much, and welcome to my channel, and I hope we have such a great time talking about books, and I love you guys. Bye.